Hey everybody, Baking here. With the upcoming launch of World of Warcraft Classic, there are many points of contention within our community. One of these points of contention is the use of layering and the effect it's going to have upon the community. We all have our own opinion upon layering and the effect it's going to have, but today, specifically, I want to talk about the effect it's going to have when we hit Phase 2. It is to my understanding that each layer holds approximately 3,000 people. With that in mind, we also know that certain servers where the large streamers congregate are going to possibly have a large number of layers come Classic launch. Now Blizzard has stated that they are going to have layering for no longer than the first phase. This will be necessary to eliminate queues and ensure a smoother launch experience. Blizzard, and many of us here, are expecting many tourists to try the game and then quit for whatever reason that may be. And that is absolutely going to happen. The question here is to what degree. The following issue is as such. Imagine you're playing on a server and we're heading into Phase 2 of the Classic content release schedule. Your server is one of the more popular servers, probably with some of the bigger streamers, and it has a population of 10,000 people. Now remember, Blizzard has already stated that they're going to not be using layering for Phase 2. This is going to leave your server with a population akin to the more private servers. And that is exactly the crux of the issue. How are we going to deal with these super servers that have a population that is much higher than Blizzard intended for Classic WoW? There is a host of options to deal with this problem, but they all come with their own pros and cons. Option number 1, and arguably the worst option out of the bunch, Blizzard walks back their promise on keeping layering out of Phase 2 and extends it further into the game for said servers. This would remediate problems in other options, but comes with many of its own problems. We still don't know how layering works in regard to farming repeated mining or urbing nodes. If this is abusable, as we have seen from people in the beta, this would cause a massive problem with the server's economy. Furthermore, keeping layering in the game past Phase 2 means that you straight up will not see a large portion of people throughout the entire game. Yes, you'll be on the same server, but people will be stuck in their respective layers. This completely and totally goes against the essence of what Classic WoW was about. This choice would wall off so many potential new adventures with players that normally you would have interaction with. This, in my opinion, would be the absolute worst choice of the bunch and is antithetical to Classic WoW's development. So as I talked about in the last clip, layering is potentially abusable, and this clip we're about to watch is from a player on the beta called Monkey News, and as you can see here, he's mining this ore node. Okay, loots the ore. Now what he's going to do is he's going to log out, log into a separate character. I'll just skip this little log out time. Okay, see, he's logging into another character. Alright, logged in, logged out. Now he logs back in his original character that he mined that node on. And as you can see, there's a node right there. So it's definitely going to be abusable. We have to find out from Blizzard what the specifics are on layering, because that is extremely important. Our second option, we have the old school method of just straight up having queues for people to log in. Back in the day, there would be queues for getting into servers, and you'd have to wait until a spot opened up so you could play the game. Yes, nobody really wants to wait around to get into a game they're excited about playing, but this does keep the economy and world in the state Blizzard had intended to. Assuming Blizzard sticks with their old school numbers for Classic servers, each server should have the ability to hold approximately 2,500 to 3,500 players online at a single time. Knowing the more popular servers could potentially have 10,000 plus players coming into Phase 2, we run into the issue of queues unlike the likes of us have ever seen before. If you don't get on and stay on, you could be forced to wait hours upon hours to get into play. Now imagine this, you're raiding on Saturday at 6 p.m. You try to log into the game 1 hour early to prepare and get to the instance. You're slammed with a fat 3-hour queue wait and you just missed your raid. You would potentially have to set aside large blocks of your time to be monitoring your queue time and essentially waste time in real life just so you can get into the game and play. As I stated earlier, this does keep the world in a state Blizzard intended it to, but the massive queue times would be a serious problem if the population does not decrease to a manageable point. Finally, we get to our third option, and the option is to offer free server transfers to low population realms. This, in my opinion, is what they're going to have to do in order to keep the community in a somewhat appeased state. Sadly, this option also has unintended consequences. Say you want to roll on a medium to low population server specifically to avoid problems caused by having many players on your server. Now, Blizzard decides to select your realm to be the destination of these server transfers. Do you re-roll, or you just suck it up and deal with it. Furthermore, by Phase 2, each server's economy is just going to be getting into the swing of things. Having players transfer over with their mats and banks will heavily change the natural state of said server's economies. Players, knowing they're going to be transferring, can look at target servers' economies and preemptively farm items that are either in lack or selling well. Knowing this gives an unfair advantage to the server transferees. Things that are hard to farm on your server might be easy to farm on the other server. Knowing this, you can exploit this knowledge and transfer over with a bag full of liquid gold. Honestly, I don't know what Blizzard is going to be doing in regards to this issue. Maybe there is an alternative option that I just haven't thought of yet. But if there's one thing I can promise you, it's definitely this. When we hit Phase 2, there is going to be a portion of the population who is not happy, and Blizzard is going to have to do something about it. I hope you guys enjoyed my video, and I'm glad I could bring this information up because it's definitely something that needs to be rectified before we get there. As usual, like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you thought in the comments below. I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about this, if there's any solutions I haven't thought of. So, until the next video, see you next time.